I worked for President Richard Nixon, President Gerald Ford, and President Ronald Reagan. Robert E. Simon Jr. was the founder of Reston, Virginia. He turned 100 on April 10th, 2014. He conceived the idea, he acquired the funds, he sold a family business, Carnegie Hall, and I think for $13 million and change, he acquired nearly 7,000 acres, which today is Reston, Virginia. I want President Obama to consider awarding the Medal of Freedom to Robert Simon Jr. Robert Simon started Reston before there was a National or Federal Fair Housing Act, specifically titled later the Civil Rights Act of 1968, in an environment that was the epicenter nationally for what was called massive resistance. Following the Brown versus Board of Topeka decision in 1954, the states and of the Commonwealth of Virginia, they did everything they could to fight integration of the schools, of the public schools. And the Supreme Court had to reaffirm the Brown decision in the Commonwealth in what was called the Green decision, and that was in 1968, Green versus the Board of Newcount County in Virginia. What was interesting about Reston, Virginia, is that Mr. Simon, in one of his visions, addressed the dignity of the individual. That was critical to the process. That word resonated with me because when Martin Luther King came up to Michigan State University following the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, he said he told the people they had a choice between walking in dignity or riding in humiliation. So that, again, resonated with me. So as I go through my life, I look at the whole issue of not just my dignity, but the dignity of others. So I moved to Reston when I got out, and I've lived here for 46 years and raised my family here. It's a great place. It's everything that Mr. Simon said it was and more. We do have our challenges, but as far as the attitude of the people's concerned, I think the people are outstanding. What's unique about Reston? We're about 37% diverse. That's non-white, if you want to say it, but black, brown, etc. And that is significant. It is significant because this nation really is not integrated in a large sense. It's probably the most contentious area of public policy. And only one HUD secretary, George Romney, fought to try to get the Justice Department to weigh in and challenge cities like Warren, Michigan, that resisted integration. And he could not get the backing of President Nixon or Attorney General John Mitchell. But he was very courageous. The other thing that's significant is that I think the most courageous man in the 20th century was Walter Mondale when he was in the Senate, because he took this issue on. And Senator Humphrey, his colleague from Michigan, told him, who was the vice president, I think, he told him this was going to be a tough issue to run with. And he did. And he really was able to get the legislation through, and tragically after the assassination of Martin Luther King on the 4th of April, 1968, LBJ was able to weigh in and get the bill to become an act, which became the Civil Rights Act of '68. So that history propelled me here, and also my father's history, because when he formed Allied Federal Savings and Loan back in the 50s, it was to try to help blacks get mortgage money, access to the mortgage market, to buy homes for housing. There's an expression, it may be biological, that flowers do not bloom in darkness. Reston is a flower that has enjoyed the sunshine and the rain. This is an example for the nation to emulate. This is an example to be commended and cited for its excellence, because the founder, Robert E. Simon Jr., prevailed amongst tremendous odds, amongst adversarial type of and contentious confrontations with people that did not have the interest of others in mind, with a county commission, planning commission, that basically had its head in the sand. But he prevailed. Even though he lost control financially, at the beginning, he came back at a timely intersection to do the things that were appropriate. And it's historic, and it is worthy of recognition. Mr. Simon has been awarded a lot of medals. When I was a director of the American Society of Planning Officials, we gave him a gold medal. It was a slam dunk. He was an icon and remains an icon today in the development business. And I think the fact that he lived to be 100 years old on the 50th anniversary of Reston was an opportunity that warranted far greater recognition than a letter from the president. But more appropriately, he should have received that gold medal. And I want to do what I can to make sure he gets it.